How to tell if your eye is conscious. In a new report, scientists offer a list of measurable qualities that might indicate the presence of some presence in a machine. Have you ever talked to someone who is into consciousness? How did that conversation go? Did they make a vague gesture in the air with both hands? Did they reference the Tao teaching or Jean-Paul Sartre? Did they say that, actually, there's nothing scientists can be sure about and that reality is only as real as we make it out to be? The futziness of consciousness, its imprecision, has made its study anathema in the natural sciences. At least until recently, the project was largely left to philosophers, who often were only marginally better than others at clarifying their object of study. Hod Lipson, a roboticist at Columbia University, said that some people in his field referred to consciousness as the C word. Grace Lindsay, a neuroscientist at New York University, said, "There was this idea that you can't study consciousness until you have tenure." Nonetheless, a few weeks ago, a group of philosophers, neuroscientists and computer scientists, Dr. Lindsay among them, proposed a rubric with which to determine whether an AI system like ChatGPT could be considered conscious. The report, which surveys what Dr. Lindsay calls the brand new science of consciousness, pulls together elements from a half-dozen nascent empirical theories and proposes a list of measurable qualities that might suggest the presence of some presence in a machine. For instance, recurrent processing theory focuses on the differences between conscious perception, for example, actively studying an apple in front of you, and unconscious perception, such as your sense of an apple flying toward your face. Neuroscientists have argued that we unconsciously perceive things when electrical signals are passed from the nerves in our eyes to the primary visual cortex and then to deeper parts of the brain, like a baton being handed off from one cluster of nerves to another. These perceptions seem to become conscious when the baton is passed back from the deeper parts of the brain to the primary visual cortex, creating a loop of activity. Another theory describes specialized sections of the brain that are used for particular tasks. The part of your brain that can balance your top-heavy body on a pogo stick is different from the part of your brain that can take in an expansive landscape. We are able to put all this information together. You can bounce on a pogo stick while appreciating a nice view, but only to a certain extent. Doing so is difficult. So neuroscientists have postulated the existence of a global workspace that allows for control and coordination over what we pay attention to, what we remember, even what we perceive. Our consciousness may arise from this integrated, shifting workspace. A new generation of chatbots. Card 1 of 5. A brave new world. A new crop of chatbots powered by artificial intelligence has ignited a scramble to determine whether the technology could upend the economics of the internet, turning today's powerhouses into has-beens and creating the industry's next giants. Here are the bots to know. ChatGPT. ChatGPT, the artificial intelligence language model from a research lab, OpenAI, has been making headlines since November for its ability to respond to complex questions, write poetry, generate code, plan vacations and translate languages. GPT-4, the latest version introduced in mid-March, can even respond to images and ace the uniform bar exam. Bing. 2 months after ChatGPT's debut, Microsoft, OpenAI's primary investor and partner, added a similar chatbot capable of having open-ended text conversations on virtually any topic to its Bing Internet search engine. But it was the bot's occasionally inaccurate, misleading and weird responses that drew much of the attention after its release. Bard. Google's chatbot, called Bard, was released in March to a limited number of users in the United States and Britain. Originally conceived as a creative tool designed to draft emails and poems, it can generate ideas, write blog posts and answer questions with facts or opinions. Ernie. The search giant Baidu unveiled China's first major rival to ChatGPT in March. The debut of Ernie, short for Enhanced Representation Through Knowledge Integration, turned out to be a flop after a promised live demonstration of the bot was revealed to have been recorded. but it could also arise from the ability to be aware of your own awareness, to create virtual models of the world, to predict future experiences, and to locate your body in space. The report argues that any one of these features could, potentially, be an essential part of what it means to be conscious. And, if we are able to discern these traits in a machine, then we might be able to consider the machine conscious. One of the difficulties of this approach is that the most advanced AI systems are deep neural networks that learn how to do things on their own, in ways that aren't always interpretable by humans. We can glean some kinds of information from their internal structure, but only in limited ways, at least for the moment. This is the black box problem of AI. So even if we had a full and exact rubric of consciousness, it would be difficult to apply it to the machines we use every day. And the authors of the recent report are quick to note that theirs is not a definitive list of what makes one conscious. They rely on an account of computational functionalism, according to which consciousness is reduced to pieces of information passed back and forth within a system, like in a pinball machine. In principle, according to this view, a pinball machine could be conscious if it were made much more complex. That might mean it's not a pinball machine anymore. Let's cross that bridge if we come to it. But others have proposed theories that take our biological or physical features, social or cultural contexts, as essential pieces of consciousness. It's hard to see how these things could be coded into a machine. And even to researchers who are largely on board with computational functionalism, no existing theory seems sufficient for consciousness. For any of the conclusions of the report to be meaningful, the theories have to be correct, said Dr. Lindsay. Which they're not. This might just be the best we can do for now, she added. After all, does it seem like any one of these features, or all of them combined, comprise what William James described as the warmth of conscious experience, or, in Thomas Nagel's words, what it is like to be you? There is a gap between the ways we can measure subjective experience with science and subjective experience itself. This is what David Chalmers has labeled the hard problem of consciousness. Even if an AI system has recurrent processing, a global workspace, and a sense of its physical location, what if it still lacks the thing that makes it feel like something? When I brought up this emptiness to Robert Long, a philosopher at the Center for AI Safety who led work on the report, he said, that feeling is kind of a thing that happens whenever you try to scientifically explain, or reduce to physical processes, some high-level concept. The stakes are high, he added. Advances in AI and machine learning are coming faster than our ability to explain what's going on. In 2022, Blake Lemoine, an engineer at Google, argued that the company's LM chatbot was conscious, although most experts disagreed. The further integration of generative AI into our lives means the topic may become more contentious. Dr. Long argues that we have to start making some claims about what might be conscious and bemoans the vague and sensationalist way we've gone about it, often conflating subjective experience with general intelligence or rationality. This is an issue we face right now and over the next few years, he said. As Megan Peters, a neuroscientist at the University of California, Irvine, and an author of the report, put it, whether there's somebody in there or not makes a big difference on how we treat it. We do this kind of research already with animals, requiring careful study to make the most basic claim that other species have experiences similar to our own, or even understandable to us. This can resemble a funhouse activity, like shooting empirical arrows from moving platforms toward shape-shifting targets with bows that occasionally turn out to be spaghetti. But sometimes we get a hit. As Peter Godfrey Smith wrote in his book, Metazocephalopods probably have a robust but categorically different kind of subjective experience from humans. Octopuses have something like 40 million neurons in each arm. What's that like? We rely on a series of observations, inferences and experiments, both organized and not, to solve this problem of other minds. We talk, touch, play, hypothesize, prod, control, x-ray and dissect, but ultimately, we still don't know what makes us conscious. We just know that we are Consciousness in artificial intelligence. Insights from the science of consciousness. Whether current or near-term AI systems could be conscious is a topic of scientific interest and increasing public concern. This report argues for, and exemplifies, a rigorous and empirically grounded approach to AI consciousness, assessing existing AI systems in detail, in light of our best supported neuroscientific theories of consciousness. We survey several prominent scientific theories of consciousness, including recurrent processing theory, global workspace theory, higher order theories, predictive processing, and attention schema theory. From these theories we derive indicator properties of consciousness elucidated in computational terms that allow us to assess AI systems for these properties. We use these indicator properties